Hi, Taylor T. Carlson, and I'm back with another vinyl haul for you. I've actually been selling a lot of my Star Wars books that have been sitting on the shelf gathering dust, and selling these over at Zia Records, and I've been using my credit to buy me some new records for the collection. So, again, we're going to do another unboxing. Most of these came from Zia Records with the credit that I got from my recent trade-ins. I've still got a few things I need to go back and sell, but let's get started. I'm going to start with a few things that I got from other stores, so I'll point out where all these came from. We'll do quick unboxings of those, and I'll move on to the Zia stuff, which constitutes the bulk of this haul. First of all, I ordered this off Amazon, one of my favorite guitar players of all time, Mick Ronson. This is his second solo album, Play Don't Worry. Mick Ronson, best known for being David Bowie's guitarist in the classic Spiders from Mars lineup, playing on albums like Ziggy Stardust. This guy was a phenomenal axe man and a great arranger too. I mean, he did work with everyone from like Ian Hunter to the Pure Prairie League, so very diverse, very talented musician. It's a shame that guy's never really got to get the recognition he deserved in his life. Sadly, he died of cancer in his 40s in the 1990s. Phenomenal guitarist, one of my all-time favorites, and great to finally get his second solo album on vinyl. I'm still trying to get his first one, Slaughter on 10th Avenue, which may actually be my preferred release of the two, but this is a good start. Also ordered this from Amazon.com. This is Girl, Sheer Greed. This band featured vocalist Phil Lewis before he joined LA Guns, and it also featured guitarist Phil Collen before he joined Def Leppard. From a historical standpoint, for those obvious reasons, this is a great album worth picking up. Produced by Chris Sangridis. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. Sadly, he just passed away not too long ago, but he produced a lot of great heavy metal albums, including Judas Priest's Painkiller, one of my all-time favorites. And there is a gatefold in here to show off. Basically, this is just all the lyrics. I like how they're actually printed in the gatefold, and you don't have to pull out a separate piece of paper to see them. There's a song in here called Hollywood Tease, which Phil Lewis later covered on the first LA Guns album, as well as a cover of the Kiss song, Do You Love Me? So, great underrated beginnings of the careers of two of rock's all-time greats, and glad to finally own that one on vinyl. Next up, I got this from Clint over at Moondog Records. In this video, I'm going to show this off. This is Foreigner, Agent Provocateur. This was their fifth album, released in 1984. Best known for containing the hit, I Wanna Know What Love Is, Hank Hill's favorite song, and the biggest charting hit of their career. I believe it was their only #1 hit. It also had the song That Was Yesterday, which had some modest chart success as well. And then it's got some other great tunes, including Tooth and Nail, not to be confused with the Dawkins song of the same name from the same year. Ironically, Jeff Pilson has played in both bands. Again, you can see the Obi strip here. This is actually an import. So there's actually some pretty cool insert stuff here to look at. I mean, right here, this just looks like the standard English language lyric sheet. But then you open this up, and we got two little surprises to show off. You got the same thing here, but it's all in an Asian language. I'm assuming this is Japanese. Again, I'm not really familiar with foreign languages, so I'm not the best judge of things like that. And then, in addition to that insert, there's also an order form for the records that they'd put out to the time. This actually has the yen symbol, so I guess this is Japanese then. So, moving on, one of my favorite finds there, but I think there's a few things on here that will top that even. Totally different change of direction here. This is a 12-inch single of the song Kiss, originally performed by Prince, and this is the cover version by Art of Noise featuring Tom Jones. Two completely different worlds of music. Art of Noise probably best known for their 80s cover of the Peter Gunn theme. And then Tom Jones, of course, that guy, one of the greatest singers of all time. He gets around. Here's the back cover. It's got 3 versions of the song on here. And didn't own any Tom Jones on vinyl, so this was a nice addition to the collection there. And I bought this over at Record City from my buddy Joey, who works there. And never mind the bollocks, here's the Sex Pistols. If you know rock and roll, if you know punk rock at all, you know who the Sex Pistols are. They only recorded one proper album, but what an album it is. I mean, you got classics on here like God Save the Queen, Pretty Vacant, Anarchy in the UK, Problems, Holidays in the Sun. If you're at all a punk rock fan, you know how influential a band these guys were, and they definitely remain one of my favorites, and I'm glad I finally got their album on vinyl. Now, I've seen versions of this, like this one, that has sort of the salmon-colored background, but there's also a version that has a yellow background. Does anybody know what the differences between the two are, or if there even really is any difference, or if it's just an aesthetic thing? If anybody knows, comment down below and let me know, because I'd really like to hear the story about that. And now we're getting into the stuff that I got from Zia, which I spent my store credit on the last few days. First thing here is by a group called the Far Corporation. This is a super group of sorts that was put together by Frank Farian, or Farian. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm not super familiar with him. I know he put together like some disco groups back in the 70s, but some of the musicians on here include Bobby Kimball from Toto and even Robin McCauley, later of the McCauley-Schenker group. The thing this band was best known for was their cover of Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. Far Corporation was actually the first group to chart Stairway to Heaven because Led Zeppelin never released it as a single, despite the fact that it's one of the biggest and most popular songs in rock history. Another great find at Zia. This is the Peewees Big Adventure soundtrack. I love all things Pee Wee Herman. The guy definitely makes me laugh. I've been watching this movie and Pee-wee's Playhouse rerun since I was a little boy. My little brother even got a talking Pee-wee doll for Christmas when he was like 2 or 3 years old, and of course this all happened before the big scandal that threw his career astray. Interesting piece of trivia, Paul Rubens, Pee-wee Herman, actually voiced the Rex pilot droid in the Star Wars ride at Disneyland back in the day. Even after the scandal, they never replaced his voice, and he also voiced a similar droid on the Star Wars Rebels animated series. This is a special record because it actually also includes Danny Elfman's score to Back to School, which starred Rodney Dangerfield. If you look there, there's screen caps from both movies. That guy in the gray coat there is a very young Robert Downey Jr. long before he played Iron Man. And the vinyl itself here is a transparent red record. See if I can get this out of here. You can see that there. It's pretty cool looking. I think it's transparent, but not very transparent, so you can't really see through it too well, but it's not completely opaque either. And, of course, both of these scores were by Danny Elfman, best known for his role in the band Oingo Boingo long before he hooked up with Tim Burton here and made a whole new career for himself as a film score composer. I mean, you hear his score in things like, obviously, Tim Burton's films, but he also scored the first 2 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films as well as Men in Black. So, very talented guy, and it's great to get this music on a vinyl record. And moving forward, this just came out actually not too long ago. This is Billy Joe Armstrong, No Fun Mondays. The guitarist singer from Green Day. Of course, I absolutely love Green Day, one of my favorite rock bands of all time. Maybe they're a little too pop for a lot of the punk purists, but I've always liked their music. They're one of the bands I was into before I was even into music. And here's the track list. This is a covers album, actually. Billy Joe's recorded a few covers the last few months or so with all the quarantine BS that's going on in the world. And this has a sheet in here that has a list of the performers that play with him on the record, as well as the record itself. And this is actually really cool. Indie stores had an exclusive light blue vinyl. I absolutely love the way this looks. And more Green Day or Green Day-related releases that I can add to my collection. That's always a good thing. And staying within the Green Day family, another Green Day album that's not quite a Green Day album. This is Foxborough Hot Tubs, Stop, Drop, and Roll. This is a garage rock side project album that they recorded. I believe this came out in like the late 2000s, probably around 2008 or so. I don't know the exact year, and it doesn't say it on the package, but they even did the back cover of this like in the style of an album from the 60s with the black and white photos and kind of generic, basic-looking writing. I love it when they pay homage like that. And inside here, another cool exclusive. This is a green marbled vinyl. If you could already tell, I love like transparent and colored vinyl, so I try to collect those as much as I can. We've got a 45 here at Zia as well. I believe this was a Record Store Day thing. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me on that, but this is David Bowie, DJ, reissue of one of his old songs. It's a nice looking picture disc. And then for the, I guess it's technically a double A side. On the other side, it has Boys Keep Swinging, Kenny Everett video show version. There's the back cover, got him on the violin. I absolutely love David Bowie. Sorely miss the guy. He produced some phenomenal music over the years, and any chance I get to revisit his music is great. I definitely want to add more of his old albums to my collection. So the other 45 I got, this is Billy Gibbons, the guitarist, singer from ZZ Top. He's put out a blues album a few years ago, and they put out this 45 as sort of a teaser preview for that album. And again, it's a 45. You got 2 tracks on here, Rollin' and Tumblin' and Hot Rod. Now, I'm not sure if both of these tracks are on the final album or not, but this 45 only cost $1, so I didn't want to pass it up. And of course, in rock and roll, you gotta have Pink Floyd. Believe it or not, I did not have any of their stuff on vinyl, something that I'm honestly ashamed of. I just got this. This is Relics. This is a compilation Pink Floyd had put out in the early 70s, prior to Dark Side of the Moon coming out, which is sort of a compilation album of their early material, including the stuff when Syd Barrett was in the band. Cover art on here is actually drawn by their drummer Nick Mason, and 2 of my favorite Pink Floyd songs are 2 of their really early singles, Arnold Lane and See Emily Play. And this is a great way to get those on a record, because prior to this being released, like back in 1971, those songs were only available on singles, so this was their first appearance on a proper LP. There's since been several reissues of those songs on other compilation albums and the like. So this is a mix of, single A-sides and B-sides. There's like one unreleased Barrett era track, and then there's tunes from like the first 3 albums. Piper at the Gates of Dawn, Saucer Full of Secrets, More. The closing track is actually Bike, which I believe that was the closing track on Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Pink Floyd, pre-Dark Side of the Moon, very different band, but a lot of fun to listen to. Glad I was able to pick this up. Next up, one of classic punk rock's seminal bands, Ramones. Their self-titled debut album from 1976. Sadly, all 4 original members of the band have since passed away. Joey, Johnny, Tommy, Dee Dee, and I love these guys. They made some great music over the years in their time together. There were a lot of other Ramones lineups as time went on, and they still managed to create some good music, but the original 4 guys, you will never top them. And contrary to popular belief, none of these guys are brothers. The name Ramone is only a stage name for these guys, and I know that's probably common knowledge to most people watching this video, but I try to run a channel that's for newbies as well as veterans when it comes to music. This has some great tunes like Blitzkrieg Bop, Beat on the Brat, Judy is a Punk, I Want to Be Your Boyfriend, Let's Dance, which is a cover of the old Chris Montez song, and 53rd and 3rd, which Metallica actually did a pretty solid cover of a few years ago. And again, any opportunity I can score some music by the Ramones is a good thing. There's actually a separate insert for the record in here, in addition to the more generic one that it came packed with. There you got the art on that side, and on this side you got the obligatory lyric sheet. Another great classic rock band, Queen, and that's actually got a gold foil thing there. It looks pretty nice. This is their 1973 debut album. Even though it was their first album, they would go on to much larger stardom. This remains one of my favorite records they ever did. It's actually got their crest there, and that's gold foil as well. Looks very nice. Great montage of photos on the back cover. And this is where it all began for these guys. Freddie Mercury, John Deacon, Roger Taylor, Brian May. Produced by Roy Thomas Baker, who produced, I believe, their first 4 or 5 records. One of the great producers in the world of music. And tunes on here include Keep Yourself Alive, Great King Rat, Liar, Son and Daughter, Jesus. Not all of these went on to be huge hits, but there's some great deep cuts on this. Keep Yourself Alive was probably the most famous track featured on here, but very happy to add this to my collection. I actually just got A Night at the Opera for my girlfriend a little while ago. Probably their best all-around album, and I got one more release here at Zia that's kind of unusual and definitely off the beaten path. This is a soundtrack for My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. My girlfriend actually kind of likes this show and found this in the soundtrack bin over at Zia. Look at the sticker here. This was actually a Hot Topic exclusive, so I guess somebody traded it in. Got the track list on the back here. I'm not super familiar with the show, but I have watched a few episodes with her, and it's pretty entertaining. Again, not something that I'm like die hard into, obviously, and I don't even think she really is, but every now and then you find something that's just totally off the beaten path and random, and I collect vinyl, so this was worth getting. Have you made any vinyl hauls lately? Got any good stores near you? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, because I'm always posting new content. And give this video a like if you find it helpful or interesting. I'm Taylor T. Carlson, and I'll see you next time.